we can kind of start out with the Western Conference. I feel like the bottom of the Western Conference, I think we might have the same team at 15.
Yeah, we talked about them when we did our questions. Pretty much
I
everything
have
we needed
Utah.
to say about Utah. Everything we needed to say about Utah, we pretty much said in our questions. I think they're 15th.
I have Portland at 14. Might be a little
I
bit
have
lower
Phoenix
on
at
Portland.
14.
Okay, so I'm a little bit lower on Portland than you. But I just look at this team as to where, like, there's so many question marks to where, like, not everything's going to work out for them. And I think they're a sneaky next year team. Like, if they figure out what Shaden Sharp and Scoot Henderson is, and Scoot Henderson's going into the year hurt. So, like, if they can figure out what they have and some of the guys that are question marks going into next year, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. But I do have Portland at 14, and you have Phoenix at 14?
I do, but I have Portland right there, right around the same amount of, like, they're the same tier as Phoenix to me this year. In opposite ways, though. I actually don't mind Phoenix's roster too much. Like, I feel like people are acting like they're just absolutely terrible outside of Booker. But I feel like they're going to be around the same amount of wins. And 13-14, like, it could be more wins than you think it would be in this tough West. But I just feel like Portland's got a bunch of good players, but no one good enough to really get them to, like, maybe hit a win streak during the season or whatever. But they got a really good defense that's going to keep them, and that's why I edge them over Phoenix.
Going into, like, because I'll have Phoenix a little bit higher. Going into the 13th seed, I have the Pelicans. This is more of, like, kind of what you were saying with Philly. Until I see it, it's going to be hard for me to believe with Pelicans. It seems like they always have all this talent, and it always comes down to Zion being healthy and whatnot. So, like, until I see the Pelicans, like, really turn it on and turn it up in the regular season and have a whole healthy season, I like Jordan Poole with this team, but what does it look like when DeJounte comes back? Like, I just think until I see it, I won't believe it, like, with the Pelicans. That's just my kind of mindset on it.
That's fair. I'm a little bit higher on them because I'm optimistic. Maybe I'm just being unfair to Philly because I like the Pelicans more. I'm not very consistent with it because I have the Pelicans higher than you. I'm just really hoping to see that full year of Zion. I really think Trey Murphy III is legit. I just like the vibes they got. Like, I think Herb's going to be an all defensive guy, and you know, it'll take being healthy. And like you said, like I don't like talking about injuries, but it is, like you said earlier, like, it's the game. So I got them higher, but I can understand why you had them there. You had them at 13, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do my number 12. It's Memphis. I really just, like, dude, you say the same thing. The West was tough to do because there's a lot of, like, good players that it's, like, hard to be like, okay, if Ja has a good year, like, no way they missed a play-in. But, dude, there's just so many good teams in the West. And it may be inconsistent because I was cool with the Pelicans, but, like, the last few years, you just haven't seen, like, a consistent, like, crew of guys for the Grizzlies go out on the court because of Ja's suspensions and injuries. And now Bane's gone. It's just been a lot of, I liked a lot of the guys that got on this team, but it's been a lot of different lineups. I need to see them go forward with, like, a set rotation and play some good basketball for me to put them over, like, some teams. I got Memphis at 12.
So I have Memphis at 11. I kind of chime in a little bit. I have them missing the play-in because you're going into the year, no Zach Edey, no Triple J to start the year, and it's not like you have Desmond Bane and John Morant that you can lean on as a backcourt because you don't have Desmond Bane anymore. You have KCP, who's not the scorer that Desmond Bane is. Yeah, you brought in Ty Jerome, and they have some interesting pieces on the offense, but with no Triple J, now no Desmond Bane because you traded him, and no Zach Edey, that front court's looking a little weak, and you don't have Brandon Clark going into the year either. They're just going into the year hurt, and in the Western Conference, you cannot start out slow. There have been very few teams that start out slow and turn it up late, and I don't think they're going to be able to be one. I can get into my 12, pivoting to Sacramento. Sacramento is interesting because they have good talent. It's just like at some point they're gonna sell. Like, they have good talent, but it's just like at some point they're gonna sell. And I think they could easily flip flop with some of the teams like that I have in the plan, like especially the 9-10 teams. But like Sacramento, it's a prediction, but I didn't even want them to finish out of the plan, so it kind of forces them to kind of shake the deck and do some shit for real. So I have them at 12.
That's my pickle with them too, because they're my 11. I just like when I was making my list, I like thought of a world where they start like 9-4, and they like, and even if they're not that good after that, they end up selling. It's like, dude, when you have Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis, like, bro, those guys are not gonna just be losing games. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care who they play. Like, they can compete. Like, there might be some problems like over a whole season and stuff, but like they're just a little too good for me to like. I don't know, man. I have them at 11. It's almost, they're so confusing. I agree with you that they should just be bad. I want this team to break up. I like all those players. I don't like them all together. I don't like them in Sacramento. It's just like, they're my 11.
I could easily flip them with either my 9 or 10 seed, and I can kind of pivot to that because we're going into that. I have the Spurs at 10. I'm seeing a lot of Victor Wembanyama on like a minutes restriction shit, like going into the year. I think they also have that you're not going to have De'Aaron Fox going into the year either. So I think De'Aaron Fox could get traded again. I think he's going to get traded again.
I'm open to that.
Because I think there's a world, like, if he's not going into the year healthy and we see Dylan Harper and Wemby working right away, then it's like you have Harper and Stephon Castle. You don't, like, you tell me De'Aaron Fox is going to come back in after getting paid all that money and come off the bench? Like, no. Like, if Dylan Harper, it all comes down to Dylan Harper hooping, obviously. Like, if he isn't hooping, then you have the argument to just bring Fox back and maybe Dylan Harper needs more time. But it's just like, fuck, if Dylan Harper's hooping and Stephon Castle's hooping and you bring back Fox into the fold, like, fuck, what are you going to do? Like, it's going to be tough. I think that's kind of the interesting, and it's not a bad problem to have, is having so many good players on your team. Like, because you can easily cash in on value, but it's going to be interesting to see where this team is at when De'Aaron Fox gets healthy. Because if you have Harper, Castle, Vassell all hooping in that kind of guard rotation, then it's going to be interesting when Fox comes back, because there's 3 pretty much young guys that don't want to take that step back for De'Aaron Fox, who is also still young and in his prime, but it's just going to be interesting to see where they're at. But I have
you don't want them to either.
Yeah. So, like, I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. I'm not mad at you being lower on the Spurs, and I already we had talked about this, I think, like, towards the end of the summer when we did, like, a free agency thing. Like, we just I think we're both in the same opinion that people might be jumping the gun on the Spurs a little bit. I'm definitely a little higher than you are. I don't know how much I buy into the Victor Wembanyama minutes restriction. I think that could just be, like, very start of the year to kind of ramp him up a little bit. I don't know if that's just going to be like not that you were saying this, but I don't know if that's going to be a whole year thing.
If De'Aaron Fox is coming into the year healthy, I'd look at him a little different.
Okay. I respect that. I don't know. I think I'm drinking the Spurs Kool-Aid just enough to have them, a little bit higher. But my 10's the Pelicans. Maybe I'm just excited for Zion and I'm being unfair. Like I said, I'm playing perfect world for the Pels. But I think perfect world could be even better than 10. Like, I think perfect world, you're better than the Golden State, who I have higher than them right now. You're better than the Spurs, who I have higher than them right now. And sure, that just has you landed as a play-in spot still, but I don't know, man. I like this roster. I think they've had terrible luck with injuries, especially last year. Like, just as bad as a Philly. And it seems like Philly still has these injury concerns, and New Orleans is, like, getting out of them right now. So maybe that's where that comes from. But the Pelicans are my 10. I'm excited to watch them play.
Getting to my 9, it's like the biggest disagreement we've had probably on this, and it's going to be. I'm just a little bit higher on Phoenix, man. I just think Phoenix can sneak into that 9 spot just because I don't know what Memphis is going to be to start the year. Like, Sacramento, the only flop I think I could make realistically is flopping Sacramento and Phoenix, because I have Sacramento at my 12, Phoenix at my 9. I think Sacramento does have a little bit more talent than Phoenix does has a whole roster. But I think Devin Booker being the best player out of the 2 teams is my reasoning for it, and them being a little bit higher. And I think we get a big time year from Jalen Green. I think him going from the first to the second option is going to do wonders for his confidence, because he was the first option on legit a Houston Rockets team that had no perimeter shot creation whatsoever while he was there at all. His only second option perimeter wise was Fred VanVleet, And Amen Thompson, he didn't even get the most of that because Amen Thompson doesn't have a shot yet. So Amen Thompson
Yeah,
is getting downhill, but Jalen Green was the only perimeter scorer that could put the ball on the floor and make a play realistically for the Rockets. So now you put him at year 2, and he was already averaging 20 a game. I think he's going to take him and Devin Booker are going to take a lot of pressure off of each other.
I think that when you say out loud Devin Booker being the best player, it makes me look at me having them at the 14 seed, and I'm like, yeah, that's.
But I can see it. But I can see that side too easily.
I see a world where Mark Williams is hurt and Maluat ain't ready to go, and they have the same center problems they had last year. But now you don't have Kevin Durant, so you have Dillon Brooks, who I know you're a Dillon Brooks guy, but it's almost like they're hyping him up to be their third option. Like, no, Dillon Brooks is supposed to be your fifth option. He's out there for defense and hitting a few shots. And I'm not saying this to disrespect him by any means, but I worry. What if the Jalen Green struggles don't go away? What if Mark Williams can't stay healthy? And then it just feels like it's the same thing as last year that Devin Booker had to deal with, but now he doesn't have KD to take some pressure off his back, and that's where I could see them hitting a slippery slope. But I love Devin Booker. I think he is one of the best players in the NBA, obviously. And he is good enough to have this team as the 9th seed. There's nothing wrong in saying that. I mean, he's gone to the finals at age 24. Obviously, the way different lineups then, but there's nothing hot about Devin Booker being in the play-in. He's that level of player.
I think when I'm looking at Jalen Green specifically, I think he's going to have a resurgence, and it might be a hot take, but I think he could average over 24 a game with Phoenix. I think he's going to be that valuable, and I like Jalen Green being able to swap between the 2 and the 3 a lot better than they had Bradley Beal doing. Because Bradley Beal's a little bit less athletic at this point in his career compared to a Jalen Green to defend. And Jalen Green's not this world-breaking defender.
25 a game? You think so? You think he's got that in him next to D-Book?
Yep. I think that offensive firepower between Book and Jalen Green is going to push them in to the play-in.
People talk very rude about Jalen Green, so I like that. I like it. I'm not mad at it. I don't agree. I think he can have a year like he did last year, just a little more efficient, and that would be a big success already. But people get nasty about Jalen Green, man. People get nasty about Jalen Green. So I'm glad that you're on the train with him.
I just think you take a little bit more pressure off of him because everybody's going to be focused on Book. But like you did bring up a good point about Mark Williams being healthy. But I think Jalen Green and Devin Booker has a tandem. Offensively, I think is going to be, because I think Jalen Green at this point just provides you more than what Bradley Beal is giving you. A better ability to get downhill, a better ability to just create his own shot in the mid-range compared to Bradley Beal at his point in time in Phoenix.
He does provide you more, but he can also take more away from you.
Yeah.
That's the thing there, but they also needed someone. They needed that. I mean, once KD was gone, yeah, you needed another scorer in there more than what Bradley Beal was doing at least. But I don't know. I'm not mad at that at all. I'll say my 9, and this is no disrespect because I still take them very, very seriously, and they could find a way to get out of this play-in. I got your Warriors, and it's simply just because, like, when I think of a successful season by the Warriors, I know, like, people say, like, oh, they'll lock in that time. I know Steph's not thinking like that all season, or Draymond's not thinking like that all season. But, like, if we're being honest, like, this team's you don't know. I don't know what regular season Jimmy really is. It's kind of different all the time by night. That's how he always was in Miami. And now it might be even more of that because he knows he has a Steph out there. Who knows how much all these, like, I just think they can be a 9 seed and still have a season where they are in a very competitive first-round playoff series.
Oh, you can be a 9 seed in the West and win 45 games.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, I really just kind of put them there because they're older. So, like, I don't take them as serious as the regular season. Like, that's why I have the Spurs ahead of them because, like, the Spurs are younger and hungrier and have more to prove to where I could see them being a better regular season team. Similar to how Houston was the 2 seed last year, but the Warriors are still favorited as the 7. That's why the Warriors are my 9. It's really nothing more than that. Like, we're getting to the level of the West where it's like just all praise almost.
I can kind of pivot and kind of talk about my 8. I'll have my explanation when we get to the Warriors because I don't have them crazy high, but I have them a little bit higher. Getting into my 8, I have the Lakers. I know the Lakers were a top seed last year. Bron's not coming into the year healthy.
This is where I'm confused now because you liked the Lakers after free agency. Is it the Bron injury? Is it the Bron injury? You don't think you're getting as much from Bron? Oh man, sorry, golfing. Keep going. I thought you were gonna be high in Lakers. That's why I had to cut you off real quick.
I want to be high, and I like some of the moves they did with what they were able to work with in the offseason. Bron coming into the year hurt for the first time ever. It's like, can Luka carry and will this team? Like, can Luka willingly carry this team with no Bron out there? Question marks from Ayton. I think Ayton's going to have a good year, but I could easily be wrong. And Ayton could just be the same Ayton that we've seen in Portland in the past couple of years. Like, everything I saw last year was Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic can't be on the court together. Like, when they were on the court together. It wasn't good defensively. So it's like, now you're just taking Bron, who is 23, 8-8, night in, night out, for the start of the year, and they go and play Golden State opening night. Like, that's a tough... I just think they're going to have a little bit slower of a start. They ramp it up a little bit towards the middle of the year. But I just think the slow start's going to kill them without Bron. I can see a real world where they start out like 3-5, 3-6, and they kind of just start out a little bit slow, trying to get all these moving parts in the right situation. But I think they can still be a play-in team, and I have them making the playoffs too. So like, it's not like they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah. I really don't have them much higher. I more just like kind of remembered we were both pretty hype about them in the West.
I did have them higher, but with Bron coming into the year hurt, I am very... I look into that so much. And just in terms of... Because we just talked about Memphis and I had the Spurs with De'Aaron Fox coming into the year hurt, with Jaren Jackson Jr. coming into the year hurt. Slow starts in the West can kill you.
Yeah.
Can kill you.
And it's important to remember. It's important to remember that like LeBron's not just like... You're not just missing your 40-year-old guy. Like he's still heavy production and someone they rely on heavily. Even a guy who last year was one of their brightest spots on defense all year. Like, that is a bigger loss than just, he's old and this might be his second to last year he's missing. Like, no. Like, this team is still they have Luka now, but this team is still heavily reliant on LeBron James. So I'm not even mad at it because I don't have a much. But my 8 is going to be the San Antonio Spurs. I think you have valid concerns of why you had them lower, and I am not drinking the Kool-Aid of them taking this major leap into a top 5 team. Like, people are there's people who legitimately think the Spurs are going to be one of the best teams in the West this year and have that Rockets level jump, and I understand it because Wemby is that level. Like, he is that level of player, and he's going to be the best defender in basketball, and he maybe can get them into a top 6 seed, and that's not going to overly surprise me. But I still have my question marks on how, like you were saying, they're going to work out all that guard stuff. And then now with Fox's health, I got them at 8 because of those concerns that are just like, we already said this. Year away. That's really all it is.
So that was your 8. Getting into my 7, this is where, because I think anything from 1 to 8 is not interchangeable, but a lot of different things can be happening at this time. So getting into 7, I have the Dallas Mavericks. God, I love this Dallas Mavericks team. But I think in the regular season, they can slip up and miss some games. Until Kyrie Irving gets back, we got to see what it looks like for sure. I'm seeing a lot of good shit from Cooper Flag just defensively. He's just outstanding already. Like, you could argue he's one of the best defenders in the world. Like, already coming into the league as a rookie. His help side defense is ridiculous. And you're pairing him up with 3 7-footers. Like, so he can really just be safety and roam all over the court. Like, it's going to be very interesting. I have him at the 7th seed just because Kyrie's coming into the year hurt. I'm going to stay consistent on that. But I think they have the depth and the quality of depth and the D'Lo pickup we talked about in the One Question episode that we did. I think that's going to be a really good pickup to bridge the gap till Kyrie comes back. But I think in terms of out of all the teams that have somebody hurt going into the year, Dallas is the best and most sustained to be without somebody like Kyrie Irving. That's why I have them at 7 and higher than the Lakers, Grizzlies, Spurs going into the year.
My 7 really bothered me because I think I take this team so seriously, and I think they're so good. But I think this is going to be one of those teams that really turns it up after the deadline. And I don't even want to say it. I wish we could go from 1 to 7 now, because saying this team at 7, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves for me. And it's because of the point guard concerns right now. It's because of losing Nikhil. I still think this team is built for the playoffs, and they can win a playoff series. They can win 2 playoff series. But I think there's going to be an adjustment period of trying to work in a Terrence Trent Jr., Rob Dillingham to a higher responsibility, or having Anthony Edwards play point guard all year and having that much responsibility every single night. I think it could take a toll on them. I think, though, I trust them to make a move at the deadline or do something to get them back to being that elite playoff team. And I think they have the best 6-man in basketball. So, and listen, the 7 and 4 seed could be a 2-game difference. So this is not like, I was just kind of, I don't know. I have them at 7, but I still I could see them really winning the playoff series or 2. So
oh no, trust. I have them at the 6.
Really
I have them at the 6, so we're not far off there. I have them at my 6 seed. I agree with everything you said. They do have some concerns. I think Rudy Gobert is starting to hit the decline, but having Naz Reid can kind of cushion that blow.
Yeah, his last year
being considered elite as a rim protector.
I really think so. Yeah.
But having Naz Reid to kind of cushion that blow is huge. But it's kind of like, out of the top 6 teams that I have, I think I have the most questions about Minnesota. Because, like you said, the Rob Dillingham piece is interesting. Mike Conley's a year older. Rudy Gobert's a year older. They sneakily have this weird young old mixed roster to where some guys are not even in any kind of prime. You got Anthony Edwards, who's your guy in your prime, and I think Naz Reid and Randall are still in their primes. Then you got Mike Conley, who's an important piece, and Rudy Gobert, who's an important piece, who are aging out of their primes. It's super interesting, but I do think they're a team that could pivot and get a guard in that room, especially if Rob Dillingham's more of a Emmanuel Quickley, need him off the bench as a spark guy when the days in New York, compared to being your starting lead guard next to Ant. So it's going to be interesting to see but I think Anthony Edwards, he's going to probably be in MVP talks. But 6 seed, this is the team that went to the conference finals back-to-back years. So I got to put more respect on their name. I could have easily swapped them in Dallas, but like you said, the 4 and 7 can be a 2-game difference.
Yeah, it's so hard to like you said, I like how you said they're raise the most questions, because they do. They really do, besides maybe the Lakers, who I have above them. But dude, they're back-to-back WCF. Well, they just win in the playoffs, so it's hard to sleep on them.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like that we're kind of on the same page about Minnesota. My 6 is the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
You hit it on the head. I think the LeBron thing is serious. I think Luka Doncic is going to have an MVP level season, and I kind of believe in some of the moves they made. It's a major upgrade at center, whether you like it or not. With DeAndre Ayton, almost at Jordan. So, and I think a major upgrade at center, that makes me buy into Milwaukee. That makes me buy into any team. You have a big upgrade at center, I take you so much more serious. The Hawks, I think they're getting Kristaps, changed how a lot of people think. That just is a real thing. Not saying DeAndre Ayton has done anything remarkable since maybe the 2021 Phoenix team, but still such an upgrade. A Luka big-time year. I think him and Austin Reeves might work out some of the things that have happened, but don't count out them moving Austin Reeves if he does, run up his numbers without LeBron there right now, and his value could still be really high approaching the deadline. And then they could fill any needs they have defensively to head into the playoffs. There's a real world where they send AR to, I don't know, anywhere. There's a lot of teams who can use a guy like Austin Reeves. A guard who can go get a bucket. A lot of teams can use that. A guy who can play the 1 or the 2. So the Lakers, I think, are just going to have a really good year because of how good Luka Doncic is. I'm all the way bought into the off-season stuff that he's been doing. I think it's really cool that he took that serious after that playoff loss. So I'm just excited to watch the Lakers. That's my pick.
Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't noticed, there's a team I've left. I haven't said yet. That is above the Lakers and the Timberwolves, and I'm very high on this team.
I think we'll get to him because I'll go into my 5 talking about Golden State.
Okay.
I just think it's hard. I'm just kind of riding the wave of how good they were once they got Butler. And I know there was like a different sense of urgency, but I think this team is tired of like fighting out of the play. I think this is a year where they could sneakily be like a top 4 team. Like with how good and elite defensively they were with Jimmy Butler, it can't go unnoticed. Like this is a team that knocked off the 2 seed. I know they were favored because Houston's young and inexperienced, but like knocked off a 2 seed, and God forbid Steph Curry has his hamstring injury. I didn't think Minnesota looked great in that series, even when Curry wasn't playing. Like, and the way he started that series in game 1, there was a world where like shit would have got scary for Minnesota, but like that's in the past. But like with Warriors having Jimmy Butler, I think I'm starting to get more and more in on the Al Horford pickup. It's kind of like what you said, that he's older. I get it. But when you have that upgrade at the 5 spot, it can mean the world for a team. And I'm going to compare the two. Might be a little bit of a hot take. I think this is the best depth center rotation the Warriors have had since Bogut. Like, when you're talking about, now you have, I think this might be the best shooting Golden State's had, like in so long, in terms of spacing at the position. You have Steph Curry, obviously. We know what he can do. You have Buddy Hield off your bench, who Buddy Hield was giving you big-time performances in the playoffs. Buddy Hield was one of the best shooters in the game.
Amazing.
And you have him just off your bench. And now you have, at your center position, a whole different look in your front court because you have Al Horford that can space and can play in your system. And I love him in your system because he's a good passer. He can spot up in the mid-range. He can spot up in the corners, pick and pop. He just knows the game. He's a veteran. Like,
he found a great fit.
Yeah, he has found, if there was anywhere for him to leave Boston for, it's Golden State and what they're building over there in that fit. And then it might be a sleeper, but you have another 7-footer who was giving you good production last year in minutes and spots, in Quentin Post, who can space the floor at 7 feet. Like you have real legitimate stretch 5s in Horford and Quentin Post at your 5 spot now, next to Draymond, where I think it's going to just open the offense up so much because they can't just collapse the paint like they did when you had Looney there or Trace Jackson Davis in there, like, or you're running Draymond at the 5. I think the floor spacing is going to be wide open because you could have Curry. You have a lineup where you have Curry, Buddy, and Horford or Post in the game, and you're going to have all this spacing. And I think it's just going to mean the world. And I think it's make or break for Jonathan Kuminga. It's make or break. It's either you buy in and get your value up so you get paid next offseason or you don't. So I think the pressure's on him. I think you could easily say it's like a bad, interesting fit, but the pressure's on him. He's taking the bet on himself deal. So bet on yourself then. You have to go out here and produce and feel like you're a fit with this team because that's the only way you're going to get the money you think you deserve.
The other night. Sweet fucking dunk the other night.
Like, I think he's going to be... I think he's going to be fine. I think Kuminga's going to be fine. I think Podziemski's going to be fine. But I just love
Kerr going to play him, though, more? Is he going to... Do you think he earned more minutes?
It's in Steve Kerr's best interest to play him because they'd be dumb if they didn't and they didn't cash in the value. He's going to play because they're looking to trade him and get his value up. And for him, he needs to play good to get the money he thinks he deserves. So it's a kind of a match made in heaven for both sides to get a win out of this because if you get your value up, you're going to get your money up as well. So Oregon might trade you, but if you're playing good enough, they might trade and then sign you right after. So that's my kind of point with Jonathan Kuminga. I think just the spacing that's being added to this team, I think is going to be the reason they are really good. And it's not like I'm a little bit lower on the Lakers and some of these other teams that are kind of going into the year hurt. Golden State's going into the year healthy. With Jimmy Butler, I think they're going to be fine. Like, I think they're going to win opening night because no Bron on opening night. So, like, I think they can start off strong. I really do. And now having Jimmy Butler to kind of be there all year, full offseason with Jimmy Butler and Al Horford now being in the room. And I love D'Anthony Melton. I mean, I got to harp on D'Anthony Melton like he's fucking, like,
he's a
we're
good
getting
player.
Derek White. But he's a good player off the bench and he fits what you want to do. But I got us at 5. But I'm just a little bit higher just because of the floor spacing potential. I was questionable about the Horford pickup, but I like the floor spacing, the idea that they're going with there. Because they don't have it. This is the first time they've had two stretch fives on the Golden State Warriors roster. Like, this is crazy. Like,
I'm not mad at this at all. I think I still believe what I was saying about them just with their age, but you guys got a good squad, and I mean, you got Steph Curry in the Warriors system. You could win any game any night. So I'm not mad at that at all. My 5 though is the Dallas Mavericks. My favorite part about it all is that I know that they are, without Kyrie Irving for most of the year. But I think Cooper Flagg as a rookie is going to be able to produce to have you in the spot you need to be in. And I just love everything about this team. We've talked about it a lot. My 5 is the Dallas Mavericks. I think they are with Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is, yes, everyone's talking about the Kyrie injury. Anthony Davis is the best player on that team. He gives you so much defensively. He can get you 30. I know he has these random games where he's not really doing anything on offense. I'm hearing stuff, and I'm seeing in preseason, Cooper Flagg's going to have a lot of playmaking responsibility as a rookie, and I'm all in on that. I am so comfortable with him having such a huge role straight off jump. I love Klay Thompson on this team. I love the D'Lo pickup, especially before Kyrie gets back, having D'Lo there. I mean, even a guy like Max Christie, he's going to play his ass off every night and have some good games. I love everything about this team. Then I haven't even mentioned the depth at the big position with Lively and Gafford, and then you got PJ Washington on the wing. It's like this team is like just something that it's like what we were talking about when we were doing the Eastern Conference with, like, we talked about Atlanta having all those good players. Like, Dallas has that, but on steroids to me.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that you brought up Atlanta, because I'm going to go through the Dallas Mavericks depth chart real quick, and then we can kind of get into kind of a question I have for you, and it's a little bit of a ranking. But you have D'Lo and Kyrie at your guard spots once Kyrie Irving gets healthy. You have Klay Thompson, Max Christie. You have Caleb Martin that can play the 2, 3, or 4 realistically. You have Cooper Flagg and Najee Marshall. Like, Najee Marshall off your bench as a point of attack defender is just great.
I didn't even mention him.
Like, you have PJ Washington coming off your bench now, and he was a starting caliber player for you. Like, he was and then you have Anthony Davis and Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford.
He won you a series against the Thunder.
Like, it's just so crazy to me. I have a question, because I think the biggest, like, teams that we've talked about and that we're kind of all, like, me and you are, like, consistently high on, rank Dallas, Atlanta, and Orlando. Like, those are the 3 teams that I feel like we're consistently high on. Like, I think it goes Dallas.
I do too.
Atlanta, Dallas, Orlando.
1. Me too. Well, we both had Orlando higher than Atlanta in the regular season, I think, but we both took Atlanta over. I think we both would take Atlanta over Orlando in the playoffs. That being said, though, I know I picked Atlanta over Orlando in 7, so I can't really go back on that. But something about that Orlando defense.
Yeah.
I got Dallas at 1. I think that's a good point to make. Like, I think that Dallas, like, if they were in the East, we would have them. I would have them in combos up there.
We'd be having some crazy
right behind Cleveland and New York, if not with them, bro. Like, I think that Dallas is also in a position. I don't think this is something I want them to do unless if I have some concerns from what I'm seeing. But they have so many great players and good players that when Kyrie does come back, if you're in a situation where you need to really pick up the basketball to get some wins to even, like, make the play in, let's just say it's that, or get to that out of the play in, I guess is more realistic, because they'll be in the play in. You have enough to where you could make a trade for another really good player, because even though you don't need to rush anything because of having Cooper Flagg, I think guys like Kyrie, Cooper Flagg, and AD are just, and we haven't seen Cooper do it in the NBA yet, just based off his play style and the things he's good at. Throwing in another guy who's really good with the ball in their hands isn't really going to hurt those guys to me.
No.
Like, those guys can play without the ball in their hands. You saw Kyrie able to produce next to Luka Doncic, and they're both guards. Cooper Flagg is just a make the right play type of guy. Anthony Davis is a lob catcher. He's a good passer himself, and he takes pride in defense more than anything. So they don't even, if they really feel like they need to make another surge, or if they need to make a jump from, tier 2 in the West to tier 1 in the West, like I could see them going and getting somebody too. But that's really all I got for Dallas. I could probably go on for a long time about them. I like that ranking though. I think they're above. Like I don't know who I have over like Atlanta, Orlando. I think I lean Atlanta, but I think like it's a good point to bring up. Like I think a lot of people would take Dallas over both those two teams.
Getting into my 4 seed, I have the deepest team in the league, in my opinion. I have the LA Clippers. They have starting caliber guys all over this roster. You have you went in. I kind of talked about it on one question, so I keep it short and sweet. You have Zubac having Brook Lopez as a backup that can space. That gives him another element. I know Brook Lopez is older, but in a backup role for 15 minutes a night, I think he'll be serviceable. You have Chris Paul now that can take the responsibilities off James Harden and being another playmaker, something they didn't have. You have two point of attack defenders in Derrick Jones Jr. and Chris Dunn that can go out and guard anybody in different situations. And you're going into the year, I'm high on this take. I love teams going into the year healthy. They, for once, are going into the year fully healthy with Kawhi Leonard.
That's what I'm saying.
I think with the depth, and you have Bradley Beal now in the wins, I think they could easily be a top 4 seed. If they were a top 5 seed last year, they for sure can fucking be a top 4 seed this year. Because they didn't have Kawhi Leonard, Chris Paul, John Collins, Brook Lopez, and they were still a fucking top 5 seed with Tyler. That's all I gotta say. That's all I got.
Yeah, I love it, and because of all the things you just said, I even have them at 3. I have Houston at 4 because I know there are some new pieces to this Clippers team and things are going to have to mesh, right? But we're talking about the team with the most vets in the league. They're going to be able to figure it out. Houston's the team with some of the younger guys who, they just showed that they can play their asses off behind Ime Udoka and get to that 2 seed. But now we're throwing Kevin Durant in there, which he is a seamless fit. He can fit around anyone. But we're still relying on some stuff from a star now more offensively after losing to Jalen Green. Jalen Green, he has his concerns on offense. And, maybe this is a addition by subtraction, and it very well should be. But the Fred VanVleet injury is there. You maybe have a little bit of a point guard concern, and that's why I give LA the edge over them for all the things you said. Like Houston's my 4. I think they're a really good team. I kind of spoke on some of my concerns about them, which, by the way, I think I kind of misspoke when I did that. I didn't mean to say KD has deficiencies as a player. I just said KD's not a lock to join a team, and all of a sudden they're just winning all these games.
Right.
So that's more where I was at with that. I think he's in a really good situation now, and they'll be the 4, though.
I can kind of jump right into that because I have them at my 3. I think they're a little bit interchangeable. Yeah. I think the Clippers might be a little bit better of a team, but I think the Rockets could be a little bit better than the regular season, if that makes sense. I think they could just get a little bit.
Yeah, it does. I forgot to say, I'm just so bought in on the going into the year healthy. And I would always lean more where you do. With maybe Kawhi sits out a week randomly or something just because you know how he be. But I feel like he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder after this bad press stuff. And I'm hearing reports we were hearing reports like he was working all playoffs to make sure he still had that in him. This year feels a little personal for him. Like he might have been in that front office telling him hey, really make a push here. Let's make a real push here because I don't know how many more me and James got. And Zoo just hit his prime. So this year feels really personal to where I don't really see them being a coast type of team. I guess I should say.
But
no, that's
Houston at 3.
Good one.
Kind of the same thing. It's going to be interesting. I think the Fred VanVleet loss hurts because I could argue they kind of are going in this now with the same questions that Minnesota has. Where's that playmaking point guard? Is it Reed Shepherd, Rob Dillingham? That's the same question. What are you going to get from these young guys? I think Houston's young guys are a little bit more proven than Minnesota's for sure. But it's just how's it going to fit around KD? You got a lot of different moving parts. You're bringing in Dorian Finney-Smith. Now you have what's Jabari Smith Jr.'s new role. You have Sengun, and you have some center depth with Steven Adams and Clint Capella now. You have some shit to work with. You have a versatile roster, but I think they're a move away. I think they are just a move away, especially If they have Fred VanVleet healthy going into the year, I'd be like, oh, they're fine. They're going to be top 6 seed, no doubt, for sure. But I think the Fred VanVleet, now it's a question mark from Reed Shepherd. Is he ready to step into this role with these expectations now from the Houston Rockets now having Kevin Durant? So it's like super interesting to me where this team's going to shake up and what the kind of avenue. Because, like, it's like Dallas going out and getting. Oh, man. But, like, Dallas going out and getting D'Lo is the perfect, like, bridge point guard to kind of get them through that time. They need somebody that can do that. And, like, it's going to be tough. I think they have the assets to get a little bit active at the deadline, but I have them at 3 kind of for the same reasons. And then our top 2 is the same. I have Denver at 2.
I really had nothing to say for them. I had Denver at 2 also.
And then I have OKC at 1.
Yeah, I feel like we said what we need to say about them when we did our questions last week as well. I just think that they're kind of similar to the East. Maybe you could make an argument for like another team sneaking in. I think like OKC and Denver are in like that top West tier, and then Cleveland and New York is in that top East tier, and maybe OKC obviously being the reigning champ is why we probably both have them at 1. But Denver's man, they're gonna be really good.
Then we can get into the playoffs, breaking down the Western Conference playoffs. At my 1-8, I have OKC and the Lakers. And I have OKC in 6 games. That's my 1-8 for the Western Conference.
Okay. I have OKC in the Spurs, and I have OKC in 5 games. I think that they're just so good that even with – I'll speak on this one quick. Just because if it'd be Wemby's first playoff series, I think he doesn't get swept. I think he'd have a really outstanding defensive performance.
They'd win at 1 at home for sure.
Yeah. That's where I'm at.
My 4-5, Clippers and Golden State. This would be a crazy fucking series. Because if you remember it was like a week before the play-in started. They played, and it was like for playoff seeding. It had like so many implications, and they played in Golden State.
It was the last game of the season, I think.
Yeah, and it was a fucking
Sunday
heater.
Game.
It was a heater.
It was a Sunday game, I think. That shit was crazy.
I'm going to feel like I haven't really been a homer all up, really. I feel like I'm pretty fair to Golden State. I would lean the Golden State Warriors in this series. Specifically off what I said in my 1 questions, kind of backing my take up a little bit. I would take Golden State in this series. I have them winning in 7 games. Because my question about the Clippers was always, can they get it done in the big moments? I love that they're coming into the year healthy. We know they can do in the regular season. But I trust Golden State and Steph Curry in a big-time spot more than the Clippers. That's kind of why I would have Golden State winning this series. I would have I just trust them more in that big time spot. But I would love to see the Clippers move on.
I also want to mention I'm just going off my 1 through 8. I didn't do it to where I have Golden State sneaking in because that would probably be my series against OKC or against the 2-7. I just did my 1 through 8 regular season. I like that, though. I think it's fair for you to pick Golden State. I mean, we're talking about Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green. I just thought you were going to be a big Clippers guy. I think you still are. I mean, you were really hyped about that Bradley Beal pickup. So I know it tore you to have to pick against them in the first round.
I was like, oh, my God. I was like,
Like, them, you know how disappointing that would be? For them to be a first-round exit against the Clippers?
In 7 to Golden State,
man.
it'd be tough. I think any team
That's
that
like
loses
a
in this first round is going to be disappointed.
Y'all bullied them forever. Yeah, because every team that's going to make the playoffs in the West is good enough to go to the WCF most years, it feels like.
Yeah.
My 4-5 is Houston-Dallas. We talked about this a little bit last week, how we think, like, Dallas is just a matchup nightmare for, like, so many teams. And I think they take care of business against Houston. I think it's in 6 games. I think Cooper Flagg has a great playoff. I love putting this pressure on him because I think he's that special of a player. I think having Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, and Daniel Gafford is really going to hurt Şengün. I think Şengün's a baller, and he's going to put up a fight. He's not going to disappoint, but I think it makes things really hard on him. And then I assume by this point, though, Houston's maybe made a move to maybe get a point guard or something to make this a better series for them. But I'm going to go with Dallas in that 4-5 in 6 games.
So, going on to my 2-7, I have Denver and Dallas. This would be fucking insane. But I know you're high on Denver. I already know you have them winning the chip, a little spoiler. This would be the worst fucking matchup in the absolute fucking world for Denver.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it would be.
This would be the worst matchup they could get.
Yeah.
With that being said, give me the upset. Give me Dallas to get it done in 7 games. I think the big rotation, when you look at any team that Denver has struggled with, they always have this assortment in depth at the big man position, but not just depth, athletic depth at the position. When you look at the Minnesota Timberwolves series, Rudy Gobert, Karl-Anthony Towns, Naz Reid, all switching and being a part of stopping Jokic. When you look at the bubble, when they played the Lakers, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis as a roamer. Now, when you're looking at this Dallas team, you have Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, and you're adding Cooper Flag and PJ Washington that can all be roamers. Give me Dallas to be the upset team and to get it done over Denver. I think this would be a tough matchup. You gotta give Jokic the nod, being the best player in the world. But I think the matchup would be so tailored to Dallas side.
Listen, your logic is sound. I think back to Anthony Davis having struggles against Nikola Jokic, but he never had those other bigs in LA to help him out, and let him really truly play power forward and not. Yes, Anthony Davis is a good enough defender to have that big of an assignment, but if you want him to give it all he can throughout a series, you need to take some pressure off of him, not have him checking a guy like Nikola Jokic all night. So your logic's sound. I think that'd be a super fun series. I'm glad I didn't have to pick that. It feels like Denver always gets a tough matchup. The years they had to play the Lakers, even though they took care of business, still not easy. You know what I'm saying? Getting OKC in the second round last year. And then on my bracket here, playing the 7th seed Minnesota Timberwolves, who are they know how to win in the playoffs. And it's going to be a dogfight for Denver here, too, in my 2-7. I do have Denver getting through this one, though, in 6 games. I think Denver has improved. We talk about Dallas improving. We talk about all these teams improving. Denver maybe had the best offseason. You combine the best offseason with the best player in the world and then one of the biggest playoff risers in basketball. It's a recipe for a long playoff run. And that's what I think is going to happen. And it starts here by taking care of Minnesota in the 2-7.
I think they also – I think Rudy Gobert taking a little bit of a step back and getting older would be a big sign here. A little bit of a big sign here. So I agree with your take and where you have it. At my 3-6, I have Houston and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm going to give the nod to Houston. Here. I think the defense that they can put on.
KD.
Yes, I think the bodies that they can throw at Anthony Edwards throughout an entire series with the men, DFS, Tari Eason, like the bodies that they can throw his way. And looking at Kevin Durant and the athleticism, like when he gets put around these great defenders, he elevates his defensive game as well. So it's like they have a length and the athleticism to compete with Minnesota, and not a lot of teams have that and have had that in the past couple years. This will be a fun series. Give me Houston, though. Give me Houston in 6. I think KD gets them to the second round.
Yeah, I think he's due for that. I think I trust Ime Udoka as well. I think he could have a really good plan. My 3-6 is the battle for LA. Mine's the battle for LA.
We finally get it?
We do. And I'm absolutely torn. Dude, I'm obviously going to say this is going 7 games. Are you kidding me? You know how lame that'd be if I'm like, I got, 6 or 5. No, this is going 7 games. It'll be played in the Intuit Dome, and the Clippers will advance. I do think they will. I think they will. I think I think that franchise is owed. That franchise is owed this right here because they played in Staples Center forever, and you're telling me that you get that full year where everyone's healthy. Zubac is in his prime. Kawhi's been healthy. You got your own stadium. You're in Game 7. LeBron's almost done. He's almost on his way out. And you get past the Lakers. Like, that would just be so, man, like, Hopefully they got no bad karma coming their way. That's all I'll throw. I'll leave it with that one. But I'm gonna pick the Clippers, man. I'm gonna that one will really tear me because I like both the LA teams a lot. I like LA basketball. I've always enjoyed watching the Lakers and the Clippers, even when and now especially with their own the Intuit Dome is just the coolest fucking shit ever. The coolest stadium ever. Anyways,
Going
I got
on
Clippers in 7 though.
to my second round. OKC and Golden State is my second round. I have OKC winning this one in 6. It just sucks because I feel like the Golden State Warriors always get this tough ass matchup whenever they do get out of the first round. It's like they got the Lakers when they beat Sacramento that one year. They got Minnesota this year and Curry gets hurt. And then they match up with OKC. This would be a tough task to beat OKC. So I'm going to pick OKC in 6. But I will say, I think this dates back to like the start of this decade, if I'm not mistaken. Outside of the Toronto one, I think it's like the team that won the championship the year prior has been bounced in the second round every single year. The following year.
Well,
I think
good.
it was when Golden State won the chip the year after they lost to the Lakers in the second round. Denver lost in the second round to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Boston lost to the Knicks last year.
Lost to New York.
Yes. So if that trend does continue and we haven't seen the back-to-backs, who knows? But I'm going to still pick OKC.
Dude, it really feels like every year NBA fans just get brainwashed and just rely on a back-to-back so much when really it's so rare to see that. Like, it's so rare to see that. Like, it takes an insane run for that to happen. Listen, I'm not making this pick because of that trend, but I do think that trend exists for a reason. It's just real. You have to get so lucky to go on these runs, and you don't see back-to-backs for a reason. Like, outside of the Warriors, like, what recent back-to-backs we have? The Heat with LeBron. You know, it's just like Kobe, maybe. Like, there's not been many. That being said, dude, I got Dallas beating OKC in round 2. I'm all the way in on Dallas. People saying gap year this, gap year that, get the fuck out of here. If you want to, we already did this exercise. You want to start reading depth charts on those Eastern Conference teams. Read that fucking Dallas depth chart again. That team is so good. And when you take a guy who believes in Cooper Flagg as much as me, a guy who believes in Anthony Davis still being a top 10 player like I do, a guy who believes in Kyrie Irving, Kyrie's not even somebody you have to hide, especially playing in OKC. Stick him on Lou Dort or Caruso. Kyrie guards up a decent amount too. I am all the way in on this Dallas team. I hate to say it like this because I don't want OKC to get hurt or anything. I just don't know if things will go as smooth as they did last year. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And I think Dallas could catch them. So I got Dallas advancing.
Getting into my 3-7, I have Houston and Dallas, and I have Dallas winning. I think that's a tough matchup for Houston defensively with everything they can throw. So I have Dallas and OKC in my conference finals. And I have the same thing. I have Dallas beating OKC, and I have Dallas. I'm a double down. Now I'm going to have Dallas being another team that goes from the play-in out of the 7th seed to the finals. And Dallas gets back to the finals.
Wow, man.
And the narratives about Nico Harrison trading Luka will go wild.
I like it. Unfortunately, I think the Clippers and Denver rematch is going to be really, really good this year. It's going to go 7 again, and I give Denver the edge. Listen, it's going to be – I'm not going to sit on here and say that the Clippers aren't going to be ready for the big moments because I already got them beating the Lakers in a Game 7. I think they are ready for those big moments. I think this Denver team's just too much. They get past the Clippers, and then we're looking at a series that was year 2-7, and I got it in the WCF, and I think this is where it runs out. I like all the logic you made about Dallas being able to beat Denver, but I think this is just a test of a really hard matchup that Denver needs. they're going to go up against this team with all these bigs in Dallas, and it's just going to show them how to take care of Cleveland in the finals for me. I got Denver advanced to the finals and winning the finals.
So you have Denver and Cleveland in your finals, and you have Denver winning. I have Dallas making the finals, and I have Dallas and New York in the finals.
Cooper Flag and MSG as a rookie in the NBA finals. You are just a fucking. This is amazing. You're getting me amped the fuck up right now. You're getting me amped up.
I have. This would be the world would end. The New York Knicks will win the NBA championship in 6 games.
Mike Brown.
And Karl-Anthony Towns, not Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns will be your finals MVP.
Oh. That was good. I'm not laughing because I think the Knicks have a team to do it. I love it. What a delivery. You just told a story with your playoff. Your Western Conference playoffs were just a whole story. I mean, I thought I had some moments with the whole LA Clippers in the new arena beating the Lakers and stuff. But Nico Harrison and Cooper Flag heading to MSG for an NBA Finals in Mike Brown's first year. Oh, and not the King of New York, Jalen Brunson, but Big Purr winning the Finals MVP, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fuck yeah.
But you have Denver and Cleveland, and I have New York and Dallas, and I have New York winning, and you have Denver winning the NBA Finals.
Denver winning.
But we can wrap it up there. We've gone for a while. We're going to break this up into 2 episodes and everything else. We'll probably have an awards episode posted next week, and we're going to film that later in the week. But this will be the NBA predictions that will come out tomorrow and Thursday, broken up into 2 parts. But that is all we have for you guys. Cole, anything else you want to add?
Man, last thing I want to say is my Bucks are going to prove you wrong. Giannis ain't going to be in the fucking play-in. That's all I got, man. Giannis ain't going to be in the fucking play-in. And I might be wrong about Steph, too, but not this year in the East. This is Giannis' chance to capitalize. I had to bring my Bucks back into it. It was too much New York Knicks hype going on. I had to end it talking about my Bucks, man.
But that is all we have for you guys on this episode of the Barrels Talk Podcast. Hope you tune in to future episodes.